Look down into the ocean, and you might see something that defies logic: an enormous, continuous waterfall plunging straight down into a dark abyss, entirely submerged beneath the waves. This anomaly sits right off the coast of Mauritius, a tropical island in the Indian Ocean. Physics dictates a clear rule for liquids: water cannot fall through a body of water that shares its exact same density. A submerged waterfall of this scale simply shouldn't exist. Because the laws of gravity and fluid dynamics are perfectly intact here, what we are actually witnessing is a massive glitch in human perception. To figure out what's really happening, we have to pull our attention away from that dark abyss and look closer at the shallow turquoise lagoons wrapping around the island. The perimeter of Mauritius is lined with vast quantities of bright white sand and ultrafine silt, constantly shifting against the coastline. The shifting mass of sand and silt provides the physical substance of the visual, moving across the seabed in a way that mimics falling liquid. If we trace the journey of this coastal sand out into the open sea, the mechanics of the illusion begin to reveal themselves. This 3D topographical cross-section reveals the hidden underwater geography. The island's shallow continental shelf suddenly terminates, plunging into a deep submarine trench. The ocean floor shears away almost vertically. This cliff edge forms a V-shaped ravine, naturally funneling anything moving along the bottom directly toward the precipice. This sheer, invisible cliff provides the extreme vertical drop required to trick our brains into seeing a cascading waterfall. At the surface, continuous coastal currents act like a giant broom, sweeping loose white sand away from the beaches and shallow reefs. The currents drag immense volumes of this bright sediment across the flat, shallow shelf, pushing it directly toward the underwater ravine. As the sand reaches the edge, it is pushed over. Gravity takes hold, pulling the heavy sediment down the steep face of the trench. Because the currents never stop, the sand never stops falling. It forms a perpetual, dynamic geological conveyor belt of descending sediment, operating entirely independently of the water surrounding it. This split screen shows why our eyes are fooled. Left, a waterfall. Right, sand sliding down an underwater slope. Bright white sand against dark depths perfectly mimics churning whitecaps. Viewed from directly above, our brain misinterprets this 3D slope as a flat surface, perceiving lateral sand movement as a vertical drop. The waterfall is simply our brain defaulting to a familiar pattern to make sense of something completely foreign: a massive underwater landslide. Zooming back out to the sweeping currents of the Mauritian coastline, the landscape takes on a new context. Now that you know the mechanics of this immense sand conveyor belt, the illusion shatters. You cannot unsee the geological reality driving it. Removing the myth of a magical waterfall doesn't diminish the phenomenon. Rather, it replaces a visual trick with a staggering display of planetary mechanics. Understanding the precise way the ocean pulls this off elevates the anomaly. It becomes a masterpiece of natural engineering, carved by water, gravity, and time. We build our civilizations right on the edge of these massive hidden geological forces, often completely unaware of the immense systems operating just offshore. Nature has no need to break its own physical laws to create something impossible. The perfect alignment of currents dragging sediment, a sheer drop-off, and a specific point of view completely deceives the human eye. The most magical sights on Earth rarely require magic. They are usually just pure science, waiting to be understood.